Hi everyone, and welcome to the Gameweek 5 FPLMattDay deadline stream. Midweek game week this week. I can't wait for it. Just before we start the stream, if you can please give the video a like, comment, and subscribe, and all of the social media channels as well. FPLMattDay. Tonight we've got special guest again. He featured last week. He's back again for more. He wants to talk FPL. He wants to talk about his team. I know he had a pretty good week. We've got Daniel Capillaro at D10 Football. How are you going, Dan?
Oh, good, mate. Good. Like, I think it's exactly the same kind of chat as I had with you prior to game week 4. I'm just hanging in there. I'm just always over the average, you know. I think my draft team did much better. I got 50-something points, and Firmino was on the bench, so it could have been a bloodbath.
Wow, that's 22 points on your bench in draft.
Yeah, I had 22, and I had 8 points from Malacia on the bench as well because I thought, no, I'm not going to go with the United defender because I thought Southampton might score, but United seem to have come right. But look, it's game week 5, so we'll have to keep watching.
So you're doing well. You've got your classic doing well. You've got your draft doing well. You're all ready for game week 5. It's a midweek game week. It's going to be a good one. But just before we get into game week 5, I am just going to share screen and we'll just quickly go through the results very quickly from game week 4, as it is quite a condensed week with all these quick game weeks. We've got 3 in the space of a week. Obviously, we've just had 1. Let's quickly go through the scores, and I'll just get the share screen up and we can go through them because there's one score that we do want to talk about in a little bit more detail than the others, and we will get to it. Let's start off with the first game. So we had Southampton versus Man United. Man United won 1-0. I thought it was a pretty okay performance from Man United. From an FPL point of view, was there anyone that stood out for you, Dan?
I actually had him. I had Dallo. So
you did. You had Diego Dallo. Oh, yeah, he got the assist. Yeah,
I got the
that's
assist
right.
points, and I think he got the 3 bonus as well. Look, I think especially with the way Ten Hag is playing and getting those overlaps, underlaps, I think Dallo if he's playing on the right side, I'm not sure if Sancho and the other winger, if they do swap, but there's a lot of interplay. There's a lot of touches on the ball. I think Dallo, and this is also why I brought Malacia into my draft, they are players that are going to get loads of the ball, lots of crosses into the box. And as I think we've seen in the last 2 games against Liverpool and also against Southampton, it was a cross that resulted in the goal. Same with the ball to Sancho for the goal in Liverpool. Mind you, there was a bit more composure involved in that one as well, Jadon Sancho. And look, he was the player we spoke about game week 4. I think he's going to be another important player in game week 5. I'm not sure if he's going to be like a Bernardo Silva or a Gundogan or even a Son, a Heung-min Son, where he's going to get loads and loads of returns, but he's always there or thereabouts, and he's involved in the play.
I agree, and I think so you also mentioned Dallo, who's in your side. Really good delivery, got the assist, got the bonus. Bruno Fernandes come back with a goal, and we'll talk about Bruno Fernandes later on. But that was 1-0 to United. Good win for them. And then we're going to the 3 o'clock kickoffs in the UK, which was Brentford 1, Everton 1, Brighton 1, Leeds 0, Chelsea 2, Leicester 1, which was a good game. Red card for Chelsea, but they pulled through. Raheem Sterling come in with a double, so he gets off the mark with a double-digit haul. We had the Man City 4, Palace 2 game, which Palace were 2-0 up, and that was obviously all about one man in Haaland. We will discuss Haaland a bit later on in the show. What was your summary on that game other than Haaland? Was there anyone else for Man City that you think is becoming a must-have that isn't Haaland? Because we're gonna talk about him a bit later on.
Yeah, I've already made the transfer for this player, and that is I thought it was going to be Riyad Mahrez, but Mahrez seems to be playing more of a bit part. And now that I think the transfer window is 1 day from closing, Bernardo Silva is definitely playing. He's had 2 returns in the past 2 game weeks. I've brought him in from game week 5 onwards. So I'm going with Silva, Cancelo, and Ederson. So that's my triple up. I'm missing out on Haaland, probably because of the price point.
Okay.
If he goes crazy this week, I may think of the wild card, but
Okay.
it's still an option. If I stay above the average, I'm going to keep just trucking along.
I think that's fair, and I think Bernardo's a good shout. He's got those 2 double-digit hauls now in 2 games. Did he get 10 points? Actually, where did he get 10 points? Trying to think if he did get the 10 points in the week. And when he got the goal, I know he got the double-digit haul the week before, but he's had the 2 good returns. He makes things tick. He's shown that early season form that he showed last season when he was brilliant week in, week out. So definitely a good shout. I think, he's well worth keeping an eye on. Man City getting the win in that one. The one fixture we will quickly discuss. Liverpool 9, Bournemouth 0. Scott Parker has actually just been sacked by Bournemouth as well, which obviously seems pretty harsh considering they've just, they've played Liverpool, they've played City, they've played Arsenal, and they've beat Villa. But it seems to be a bit more of a some of the comments he's made about the players and the board isn't too happy with what he said, and they've just decided to get rid of him. But crazy game. Obviously, last week's podcast we did, Dan, you did call 5-0 to Liverpool. You thought, I only thought it was going to be 3. Remarkable score. The crazy thing about this was 9 goals, not 1 return from Mo Salah, no assist, no goal. All right, he missed a couple of really, sitters, open goals and the like, but no returns from Mo Salah. What are your thoughts on that? It's incredible. I still can't believe it. I can't believe it. People are comparing it to Havertz last year. The reason it's nothing like Havertz for me is because Salah's been doing this season in, season out, where he's hitting 20 goals, 30 goals. Havertz has never had that impact at Chelsea. So I'm still in shock at 9-0 and no Salah returns. But what are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, look, I obviously had the one that he missed from right in front. You can't say right in the line, because I think if he was right in the line, it probably was not him, but he was right in front. And also the assist that the ball through he gave, or the pass he gave, that was also missed. I think in terms of it being 9-0, he's still either the third pass or creating chances, or he's there getting the chances. It is Mohamed Salah. If he was to get 2 of the goals from last week, we probably wouldn't even be having this conversation.
It's so true.
But he's still there or thereabouts. The only reason why people I believe, are toing and froing is because obviously he has the blank. A lot of people captain him. You rank dive, and then also point dive, and so you get emotional with your picks. But it's game week 4. This week I'm not captaining him, but I still keep Salah in my side. And I was lucky the previous week that I had Trent and also Diaz. So if I'd captained one of them, I would have been laughing even further. But I was fortunate to get the points. Salah will score. There's no doubt about that. I think this is just I believe it's a one-off. Could be wrong, but I believe so.
Interesting stuff there, Dan. And it's going to be intriguing to see what happens. You obviously mentioned Luis Diaz, 14 points. There's some people out there think he can cover Salah on his own. I guess we'll see what unfolds. Quick one, we just had This Is Wrestling Film, which I think could be Martin Watchhorn on Twitter, I believe. Could be wrong, but if you are new to the stream, then give us a subscribe and like the video. You have asked a question. We're going to take the questions at the end as the Q&A comes in. So if you just stay tuned on the podcast, we'll take your question at the end. We do actually have a differential section as well, so that might actually help you with your question, because you have asked about some differentials. We'll wrap up the scores, the rest of the scores quickly. So we also had the Arsenal 2, Fulham 1 result. Mitrovic with another goal. He just looked brilliant in that one. I know you're smiling, Dan, because he was someone that you did pick out last week as someone you were looking at putting in your team. And he looks like a man possessed at the moment. And he looks like he's wanting to prove everyone wrong from his last time in the Premier League, where he didn't get, the numbers. And then now it's like he's back with a vengeance, and he scored. They went 1-0 up. Arsenal obviously turned it around. Ødegaard getting another goal. And then the Gabriel header, which was a bit of a suspect assist from Saliba. A few people think it should have been a Martinelli assist. But, that's always going to be up for debate. But Arsenal took the win with a late goal. But your man Mitrovic getting the goal. What were your thoughts on that one, Dan, when he scored that goal?
I'm a little bit jaded. I'm a bit annoyed because it was him or Tony, and I chose to bring in Tony. But it might pay dividends this week. This week Mitrovic may not haul or return an assist or a goal, and Tony might get 2 goals. So you just don't know.
It can change week to week, and Tony did hit the bar in the Brentford game.
Yes, that's right. So it's not as if he's in bad form. He's still getting into the positions and getting the chances.
Good stuff. All right, we'll move on to the final fixtures at weekend. So we had the Aston Villa West Ham game. West Ham getting their first goal of the season and their first win, 1-0. Pablo Fornals with the goal. Another defeat for Villa. Things might not be looking too good for Steven Gerrard and Villa assets. They've got a huge game this week, which we'll talk about when we preview game week 5. We also had the Wolves 1, Newcastle 1 game. Wolves went 1-0 up in this one. And then brilliant goal by Neves as well. Unbelievable strike. And then a late goal by a man that Dan knows very well, Alan Saint-Maximin. Unbelievable volley, unbelievable technique. Scores again, gets another, it's another haul really. When the game's got a couple of minutes left and then he bangs in a volley like that, that's a huge haul. And I believe he was in your classic team, Dan, and you've had him since day one as well.
Yeah, he's in my classic. He's in my draft. There's the ongoing joke that he's in my team for 43 weeks. So
yeah,
he's still in there this week. We'll see what happens game week 5. Obviously, news we can talk about in a second. But I actually didn't see the goal. I didn't watch it live. I think because these games are on a bit too late at the moment here in Victoria.
Yeah, very late.
But he hit it with the inside of his foot. Like he just caressed it.
Have you seen the goal? You've seen the goal now?
Yeah, and it just went like a bullet into the. I think it was right bottom corner.
It's phenomenal technique.
Great shot. I think
he almost placed it, didn't he? He almost placed the volley in it.
That's what I'm saying. Like he did inside the foot, and I think it's also something we haven't seen Maximin do yet. Most of his goals are he'll cut in and he dribbles across 2 or 3 players, and then he'll shoot through legs or he's creating those assists. This was an interesting thing that he's added.
Yeah, it was incredible, and he's improving every week, season after season. And then we'll end with Nottingham Forest 0, Spurs 2. Good result for Spurs, winning 2-0. Harry Kane with a couple of goals. Also missed a pen, which obviously doesn't happen very often. But Dean Henderson saved another penalty. He's the highest point scoring keeper at the moment. He's got this incredible record of saving pens. And Harry Kane obviously has this great record of scoring pens, but he's missed one here. It was saved well. It was a good save. Obviously, there were some controversies in this game as well with Richarlison and sort of the kick ups and that type of thing. But the one thing that I'm finding very hard to sort of grasp from this game is we've got a lot of people talking about Richarlison's 2 or 3 kick ups and the foul on him afterwards, but no one's talking about that outside of the football. He did for Harry Kane on a plate, brilliant ball with the outside of his foot. And that's everyone wants to talk about the other moment, though. They don't want to talk about the bit of craft Richarlison did. Conte has said after this game as well that Richarlison will be starting in one of the next 2 games. So whether it will be the West Ham derby game or the derby game against West Ham this week, maybe that's come too soon for him. Could be the Fulham home one in game week 6. So Richarlison will be getting a start. He looked sharp. He looked brilliant, really. And him and Harry Kane could produce a good partnership. They look good together. And Kane obviously come out with 10 points, looked dangerous, looked fit, looked sharp. So good win for Spurs. Any final thoughts before we wrap up game week 4, Dan? Any final thoughts on the Spurs 2-0 victory?
No, I think it's great to see Harry Kane scoring 2 goals. I didn't know he missed the penalty. This is one of the games I didn't actually watch. Great to see him scoring 2 goals though. And the Richarlison, obviously, I had Richarlison in my draft team. Come on, they get 4 points. Look, if he'd started, it would have been 7 or so. So but he would have got a few more to add there. It will be nice if he does start in the next 2 games. I've put him into the starting lineup in my draft. I don't have him in my classic. I think he's actually quite expensive for a striker that does just come off the bench.
Yeah, he is.
But the juggling thing, I never understand it. It's a bit like when Neymar got a yellow card for doing a rainbow of a player in League One. It's just silliness, man. Paqueta has suffered the same thing in League One. Like, it's just jokes. Like, if it's within the game, and if you to juggle the ball, to step over the ball, to put your foot in the ball, to whatever you're doing, and it entices a defender like that, I think you've won. Psychologically, you've won as well, because for a defender to go and make a tackle like that, it's actually quite unprofessional.
Yeah.
If he gets sent off there, if he gets sent off and gets a red card, then it's Nottingham Forest who pay the ultimate price, really.
Yeah,
So,
and whatever happens as well to being able to express yourself on the football pitch as well. It's almost like he's expressed himself with the kick ups, and then everyone's got angry about it, and has turned it into something completely different. But yeah, interesting one. I do like that perspective as well. It's the other side of it is Forest could have ended up with a red card, a player suspended. In a time where they do need to pick up points at this stage of the season because they're new to the league. But we'll finish game week 4 there. That was the wrap up. I'm going to share screen in a second. I've got some fixtures to share for game week 5, and they've been kindly provided again by the EPL Fantasy Amateurs of Oz, Quinton Dunn. If you don't follow Quinton, give him a follow. I'm just going to quickly pull up his handle. It's FPL Amateur Oz. So give him a follow. He provides these fixtures weekly. He does appear on this vlog as well quite often, but he's not here tonight. So I'm just going to share this week's fixtures. And what me and Dan will do is we're going to go through each fixture. We're going to give ourselves probably a quick score prediction on each one, and then a player in that game that we think is someone that's going to shine from an FPL point of view, whether it's a goal or an assist. Or a big haul, or even potentially a captain pick. We will talk about them now. So I'm just going to share the screen and we can go through these fixtures. How are you feeling so far, Dan, about this midweek game week? How are you feeling? It's the first one this season. Like, have you got any sort of thoughts on it? Do you think it's going to have a bit of a different feel? I look at it and think, will we see players rotated? Because we've got a game week in game week 6, and then everyone that's got Europe next week, there's 2 months worth of game. There's 3 months worth of games jam packed into about 6 or 7 weeks for Europe and for the top sort of 6 or 7 clubs. So, got any quick early thoughts on game week 5?
I don't like to say it, but one player that could be rested is Erling Haaland. So
you think so?
Well, just because of the City's schedule, and this game against Nottingham Forest is one where they can just possession it out. You know what I mean? It's not like even the goals against Crystal Palace. I think I saw a statistic actually. Optus Sport put it out. He scored the most goals with the least amount of touches so far of any player in the Premier League.
Wow!
So a game against Nottingham Forest, maybe they'll bring him off before 60 minutes. Who knows? Because there's some very important matches coming up in the Champions League. We know that. I think it's quite common knowledge that they got Haaland in as that number 9 because they need an out-and-out number 9. Like it is true. The guy just scores goals. I think you said it well today when we were chatting. He's like a modern day Ruud van Nistelrooy.
With muscles.
A Van Nistelrooy with muscles. Yeah, exactly. And he's just there. He just scores.
He's ruthless.
It's unbelievable. Like Gerd Muller and Zagi, players like that.
Yeah.
He's got a little bit more quality, but he just scores goals. And
you'll find he'll score a lot of his goals in the box, I think, as well. He's going to be that box player. Not someone that who's scoring too many. He's got that in his locker though. Obviously, he's got the power, and behind him he can shoot. But like you said, I think he's just going to be ruthless in the box. And I think for me, signed by City, those games against Real Madrid in the semi-final last year, where Man City should have won that first leg.
He would have put it
5 or 6 goals. They dominated. And they missed chance after chance, and there's chances there he probably would have scored. So. Interesting one. We are going to talk about whether or not Haaland is a perma captain towards the end of the stream. Also, for anyone watching now, if you can get your questions in the Q&A, we've got one in there at the moment. I've seen a few people have been in the stream, so if you can get your questions in, that would be awesome. We're going to start off with the fixture at the top. We've got Crystal Palace versus Brentford. I'll go with the score prediction first on this one, and this is a tough one because I'm not sure on the fitness of Zaha at the moment from Palace. I think at the moment they're saying he's yellow flagged, 50% chance of playing. Vieira's kind of said it's going to be a wait and see, case by case sort of basis. So that could really influence the scoreline for me. whether or not Zaha is playing. So
Yeah.
because I'm not too sure, I'm going to go 1-0 to Brentford, and I am going to back Tony to get that goal, Raya to get the clean sheet, and I think Brentford are going to frustrate Palace in this one, and they're going to nick it 1-0. That's what I'll go for, based on Zaha not playing. So the player I'm going to pick for this game week, I think I'm going to go David Raya in goal. I think he's going to get save points, a clean sheet, and maybe he's been doing really well on the BPS as well. He got 6 points on the weekend, and he didn't even keep a clean sheet because he got the bonus and he got the save points. So I'm going to back Brentford for a 1-0. David Raya to be the man, but again, this is based on no Zaha for Palace. So, what are your thoughts, Dan? Scoreline, and is there any players you think we should keep an eye out for, or which one player do you think we should be keeping an eye out for on this one?
Look, I'm going to say 2-0 Brentford. I'm obviously going to say the player Ivan Toney as well. That's probably wishful thinking. But maybe with Zaha's injury woes, it could be Eze and Olise. You know, these may be two of the players that we can look out for, maybe differentials. I know Quentin, who's created this fixture list, as we were speaking previously, he had Eze, I think, one of the game weeks, and he actually returned.
He's got him in his classic, yeah, because he took the corner against he took both corners against Man City, and he got a return for one of them, and then the second one, but the first one went down as an own goal, and I think it took a couple of deflections. So.
Yeah, he hit John Stones, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is a shame, but yeah. So Eze is probably, you know, if he's taking the corners as well, I think Eze is a great one to watch.
Yeah, I like Eze. And I think with him being on corners, and like you mentioned, if Zaha isn't there, you know, he might take control of the game a little bit more, gets more chances on goal. So Eze is Dan's pick. My pick is Raya from Brentford. I'm thinking 1-0 Brentford. What was your score prediction, Dan?
2-0
Sorry.
Brentford. I'll go 2-0 Brentford.
2-0 Brentford. Okay, so we're both back in Brentford in this one. Welcome to the stream, Alern. Great to have you here. If you've got any questions, get them in and we will answer them in the Q&A towards the end of the stream. So great to have you on board. We're going to preview the Fulham-Brighton game now. This is a big game because you've got Mitrovic from Fulham, ruthless at the moment, looking absolutely brilliant. But then you've got Brighton, who have let one goal in 4 matches. Robert Sanchez, brilliant at the back at the moment in goal. Veltman, brilliant. Dunk, brilliant. But then you got Trossard looking good. Danny Welbeck's looking good. Pascal Gross got a double-digit haul again, and you know, he was someone who's showing these early form at such a low price as well. So, Dan, I'll give you this one first. If you want to name your player that you think is going to be good for this game week and your score prediction.
This is a tough one,
and it's tough.
I'm going to go 1-1.
1-1.
It's at the Cottage, Craven Cottage. It's a Fulham home game. I love the way Brighton play. I think they play really
They're good,
well.
aren't they? Their passing and the way Potter has them playing is good on the eye.
Yeah, he's brilliant. You know, he's a very, very good manager. But I think 1-1 and Fulham. For Fulham, it'll be Mitrovic, and I'll say for Brighton, Trossard.
Okay, good stuff. All right, yeah, I agree. I think Potter plays. He's got Brighton playing some really good stuff. They're tight at the back. They're tough to beat. So yeah, 1-1's probably about right in terms of the scoreline. I'm gonna go. This is tough. I'm gonna back Fulham 1-0, and I really rate Brighton, and I love the way they play. The one criticism I've had of them in the last year or so is nothing about the way they play, and you know, and they play really well within their means and with their budget. But sometimes they obviously don't always score a huge amount of goals. And sometimes these midweek games can produce results that you don't expect. So I'm going to go with a 1-0 Fulham. And the man I'm going to pick is your favourite player, striker in the Premier League at the moment, Dan. It's Mitrovic. And he's going to be, he's in the player picks this week. He's just looking like a man possessed. And I can just feel him grabbing a goal in a 1-0 win for Fulham. Nothing against Brighton because I do really rate them and I like the way they play. But yeah, I can see something, you know, it's under the lights, Craven Cottage. Midweek, bit of midweek madness. I think we'll go Fulham 1, Brighton 0. So that's Fulham v Brighton. Let's move on to Southampton versus Chelsea. So these games, actually, these first few ones that we're discussing, these are actually all on Tuesday night in the UK, which is a Wednesday morning for all the viewers tuning in Australia.
Some 5 a.m.ers here.
5 a.m. in Eastern States here. So not bad kickoffs. But these are the first ones that we're going to see tonight. So let's go on to Southampton versus Chelsea. I'll start off with a prediction. I'm going to go with Chelsea won this game 6-0 last year at St Mary's, and we know Southampton can sometimes get the odd absolute hammering, can't they? So I think Chelsea will win this one. I don't think it's going to be, again, it's midweek. There'll be the home crowd on Southampton's back under the lights. I don't think it's going to be a whitewash like last year, but I will go with, I think, a 2-1. I think Southampton will score, but I think Chelsea will have enough. And I'm going to pick the same player this week for Chelsea that I picked last week. And this player is going to be the guy who scored at St Mary's last year for Man City. It's Raheem Sterling. So he's going to be my pick again. I think right now at 9.9 million, it's, if you've got him, I'd even be looking at him as a captain. I just think he's such a good pick for this one because he was on the end of absolutely everything for Chelsea the other day. Also, I think he had hit the post. Might have even had a dislike. No, I didn't have a dislike goal. He hit the post and then he got the 2 goals. And I think Chelsea will win this one 2-1, which obviously isn't good for the Chelsea defensive double up. But I think Raheem Sterling is the man for this one.
I was going to say something very, very similar. I'm going 1-0 Chelsea and Raheem Sterling.
Oh, so you're going for the 1-0?
Yeah. I said Raheem Sterling last game week as well, before we
did
game week 4. I said he was going to be the one to have to Chelsea. A good guess, I guess.
And he's finding I think he's finding his feet now.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think he's really starting to find his feet. Chelsea don't have huge amounts of goals in them, but I feel like when they do score, it is going to be driven by 1 or 2 players, and he is one of those players, and he's looking sharp. And he's got the pedigree at St Mary's Stadium. He's done it before. We have got another question that's coming in the comments, but we will take that one at the end in the Q&A. If you are new to the stream, if you want to drop a like on the video, a subscribe, and then get your questions in. We've got a couple. We're going to take them soon once we've finished the review. So get your questions in the comments. We will go on to the Leeds versus Everton game. So that's another one that's Tuesday night UK time. Everton are a struggling team at the moment. They did get a point against Brentford on the weekend, but yet to win this season. Leeds, on the other hand, have been looking good. Solid point against Brighton. 2 clean sheets in a row. They got the win against Chelsea the week before. So there's a lot of positives about Leeds. I'll hand this one over to you, Dan. You can give your prediction to begin with. What are you thinking on this one, and who's the player that you think we need to have in our teams?
I think Leeds going to be too much for Everton. 3-0 and Rodrigo.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're still backing Rodrigo?
Yes, because he still starts up front. It'll only change, as has been previously said, not by me, but by other people, things I've read, and also yourself, when Bamford comes back in, But prior to that, I think it's Rodrigo. And then during the season, I think I might move to Harrison. I think I said this as well on the previous pod that we did.
Yeah, you said it last time.
I
agree. The York Yankees, was it the Yorkie Yankees?
The New Yorkshire Yankees, yeah. That's right.
The New Yorkshire Yankees is a new name for them with all the USA players. But I think 3-0, 3-0 is probably a pretty fair score. I saw bits of the Everton game on the weekend. They didn't look good at the back. They gave away a lot of chances.
Good goal by Gordon.
Good goal by Gordon. It was a nice goal. It was a good finish.
Yeah.
Really smart finish. But, yeah, they conceded a lot of chances to Brentford.
I actually didn't think Everton were going to score.
Yeah, I didn't either. I guess Gordon is their main threat at the moment, along with Gray. But yeah, Leeds. Houseman actually had a comment from PSB. Welcome to the stream. He actually just said Marsh said Bamford is very close, so I reckon he comes off the bench. It's a very good point because I think this game will show where Bamford's at fitness wise and what's in Marsh's head regarding Rodrigo and Bamford. Because if Bamford comes on for Rodrigo, then we probably know that it's between them two for that position. But if Bamford comes on for someone else, then we know that he might then play Rodrigo and Bamford together, especially given Rodrigo's current form. But I'll quickly give my prediction on this. I'm going to go I want to go a 2-1 Leeds. I think they'll win the game.
Okay.
I think Everton can score in this one. Maybe a Gray might score for Everton, and then Leeds again with Rodrigo playing and Harrison. They're obviously the main players. Aronson as well. I'm going to go 2-1 Leeds, and I'll back Jack Harrison for a good night out in this one. So Leeds 2, Everton 1. Jack Harrison is my man for this one. Dan's gone 3-0 Leeds. He has also gone for Rodrigo. So if you are a Rodrigo owner, keep him for this fixture. PSP's also just come in with another comment. Rodrigo will drop into the number 10 position, and Bamford will be the number 9. Good insight there, and that would be good as well for the Rodrigo owners, because you still get the minutes.
Exactly. Still good
goals and assists incoming, and he's still a very good price. So that's Leeds Everton. Let's go on to Aston Villa versus Arsenal. It's actually Arsenal versus Aston Villa, I believe. I think this one's round the wrong way. It is at the Emirates. Arsenal have another home game this week. Gerrard's got a bit of pressure on him. I think Arsenal will win this one. I'm going to go... I'll go maybe 3-1 Arsenal. I think Villa will have enough in their locker to... I think they'll play Ings and Watkins together. I think Buendia will play. I think they'll have enough to maybe grab a goal, but they won't have enough to win the game. They do have a good record at the Emirates, but I think Arsenal will have too much and they will win 3-1. I'm going to back my player of the week to be... I'm going to go Saka in this one. I think this is the week that Saka comes back. I know he got an assist on the weekend, but he's yet to score this season. Yeah. I think this is where he will come alive. Whether or not we see the end of Gerrard after this game, it would be, pretty crazy if Gerrard was to get sacked, and Parker's obviously been sacked, within sort of 24 hours. So that would be absolutely crazy. So I'm going to go 3-1 Arsenal, and I'm going to say my player for this one's going to be Saka. I think it's time for him to grab a goal with 5 game weeks in now. We've had a question from James Gadsden in the comments. We'll bring, we'll take this one now because this one's related to this game. All the other questions that come in we'll take at the end, but we'll show this one now. Saka versus Jesus, captain versus a below par Villa side. Wouldn't expect anything less to be said from a Birmingham City fan. But yeah, Dan, I'll pass it on to you because I've obviously given my prediction and my player. And I know you've got an opinion on this one because I believe one of these may be your captain this week. So, yeah, what are your thoughts? And obviously your scoreline and your player.
The player, Jesus, and I'm captaining. I'm hoping that he does all the damage, if there is damage to be done. I'm going to go... this could be one of those games which is an absolute blowout. Simply because of Arsenal's form, how they're playing, the creative players they've got in and around the box. Jesus had no return the previous game week, but was involved for both. I think both of the goals. I think he was involved. He was there or thereabouts, third pass, or he's on the dribble that is creating something else. I think, I'll go. I'll tell you what. I'll go 5-0 Arsenal. How about that?
Wow, 5-0, and you're going to back Jesus as your player of the game.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I'm captain.
Well, there you go, James. You've got Jesus captain. I think hopefully that answers. I think as well. I think it will be the game for Saka. I picked him as my player to pick, but I think if I was going to captain one of the two, it would be Jesus as well. I think Villa, they're looking poor. They're looking quite toothless. As Daniel mentioned, Jesus has been involved in all of the Arsenal goals, whether it's scoring them or assisting them. He's also been involved with the third assist and the general build-up. So I think, I think Jesus is a good shout. We've just had another question come in from Craig. Thanks for joining the stream. We'll take your question at the end as we take the rest of the Q&A at the end. We'll move on to Bournemouth Wolves. Also, last time Dan said there was going to be a 5-0 on this stream.
It was 9.
The game ended up being 9-0. So, if he gets that one right, then there could be a pretty scary scoreline at the Emirates. Obviously that is around the wrong way, but it is at the Emirates. Arsenal to win this one 5-0, according to Dan. I've gone with 3-1 to Arsenal. Let's go to Bournemouth Wolves. We've spoken about Scott Parker early on getting fired, which just seemed absolutely crazy. They lost 9-0 on the weekend. Wolves got the draw against Newcastle. They let a goal in right at the end, which is an absolute sucker punch for them. But if there's a team you want to play at the moment to get 3 points, it's Bournemouth, who've just lost 9-0. So I'll let you do this one first, Dan. Who's your player? And I get this feeling you're going to say the same player as me, because I know you like this player if you end up picking him. But I don't know if we're going to have the same score. But I'll give this one to you to start with.
I've got no Wolves players in my team. Is that what you mean by picking him? I've got no.
Nah, sorry, your player for your FPL player for the game.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with Gonçalo Guedes
there you go.
From Valencia, and I think it's going to be 2-0 to Wolves.
2-0 to Wolves.
Yeah,
I think that's a fair prediction. I think Bournemouth with no manager. Wolves don't score huge amounts of goals, but they're obviously a very talented side. They've got a solid defence. I'm going to go. You know what? I think I'll go with it. I'm feeling a 2-0 Wolves, and this is going to sound very, boring for the viewers, but I'm going with Guedes as well. He's going to have a bit more discussion on him later on in the differentials section. But he got 7 points against Newcastle last time out. He's looking very good on the ball, and I think he's a really good pick for this game week. The only problem with getting him in, he's probably someone you're going to have for 2 games and then offload again anyway, because Wolves' run does get quite difficult. But I think if you can get him in for this next 2, then you've got a good player on your hands there. So we've both gone with 2-0, and we've both gone with Guedes to be the man of the moment. Let's go to the City Forest game. This is a big one for this game week. This feels like this is going to make or break the game week, because we've got Kevin De Bruyne, we've got Haaland, we've got Bernardo Silva, who we've gone through. We've got Gundogan, we've got Cancelo, who a lot of people are selling before this game week. We've got double ups on Man City defence, whose defence has been letting goals in, even in home games. So there's a lot to discuss in this one. There's a lot to discuss. What we'll do, we've actually got tonight's topic is Haaland a perma captain now? And so we'll take that question. We'll do that topic at the end. We'll quickly do our score prediction and our player for the game. And then we'll decide if he is a perma captain going forward. I will go Manchester City 3, Nottingham Forest 0. I think they'll win comfortably. I think we'll see players, definitely some rotation, maybe not from the key players like a Haaland and a De Bruyne or a Bernardo Silva. I think they'll stay in the lineup, and a Ruben Diaz and those types of players, and even Cancelo. But I think we will see subs pretty early. I think this game will get wrapped up early. So I'm going to go 3-0 Man City. And I'll go Haaland to be the man, the FPL man to have for this one. These are the games that he'll come in and get his doubles or his hat tricks. So I'm going to pick him, and I'll go 3-0 City. And then we'll discuss the perma captain in a sec. Dan, prediction and player.
I think I was going to say 3-0, but I'll do something different. I think 4-0. I was going to say 2-0, but I think 4-0. And my player's Bernardo Silva.
Bernardo Silva. Now, good shout. I think Bernardo Silva's looking sharp. He's returned in the last 2 games, and he's on that form. I think there's a good feeling around Bernardo Silva at the moment, because a lot of us thought he was going to go to Barcelona, or there was rumours, and then now he's staying. It's similar to last year when Man City said, we're actually keeping Bernardo Silva, and then he went on that ridiculous run of form. And it's the exact same things happening now. So really like the Bernardo Silva shout.
They were thinking of selling him to Milan last season, weren't they? Like previously,
yeah, that's right.
He was always linked with Milan and everything like that. And I think I got him in around the same time as well. I think it was game week 5, and then he just went on this crazy streak where he got returns, assists, and goals in a number of games back to back. Pep usually plays Mahrez when the opponent plays a back 3. Mahrez the razzler to razzle with a Hattie. Look, for me, I love Mahrez. Riyad Mahrez is one of my favorite players in the world, but the ship's kind of sailed for me with Riyad Mahrez this season. I think maybe I got him in too early. Mind you, last season I did have Mahrez at the start. I think he scored game week 1 last season as well. But I don't see him playing much of these games anymore. He will play all of the Champions League.
Yeah, it's an interesting one with Mahrez. There's a big score coming from Mahrez at some stage
At some point,
in the Premier League. But is it going to be this one, or will it be the Villa one? I think it is coming though, and it will happen. And it will probably be when none of us own him, and then when we do own him, he gets benched. So, but yeah, great question, PSB. We are going to move on to our Perma Haaland topic quickly. Just before we do, if you're new to the stream, if you can just give the video a like, get your comments in, give us a subscribe, give Dan a follow as well. His tag is at D10Football. You can find him on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all sorts of amazing stuff on there. Different skills, coaching, ball mastery, and does a lot of really cool stories as well on Instagram as well, which does help for the FPL because you post a lot of razzlers on there, a lot of goals, a lot of tricks, a lot of really cool stuff. So give Dan a follow. Let's go on to our topic just before we move on to the last 3 games of game week 5. So Haaland is perma captain. Do we think he's a perma captain from here on after his early season form? He's got 6 goals in 4 games. It's the most goals a player's scored in the opening 4 games of a season since, I think, Aguero for Man City, or as a new signing. Sorry, since Aguero did it when he first signed for City. So he started well. Perma captain. Look, for me, I don't think he is. There's too many other options. You've still got Salah to come into form. You've got Son, who's yet to really hit form. You've got Harry Kane hitting form. De Bruyne's also had a couple of really good game weeks. Trent Alexander-Arnold is showing that he can be captained again, with massive scores. So I don't think he's a perma captain. I think the Champions League is going to play a huge part because the Champions League this season is going to be week to week all the way up until the first week in November, whereas normally it's game, couple of weeks, break, game, and we see it go all the way up until the start of December. But with this World Cup, there's just so many games that need to be played, which will mean injuries, rotation. So I don't think you can call him a perma captain at this stage. Dan, what are your thoughts?
I agree with you completely. I would not call him a perma captain. If he was, I would have already got him in on either a wild card or take a hit, a -4. I think this is one of the games which is a big risk for him to be rotated or sub before the 60 or something like that, simply because of the game coming up this weekend, and then Champions League starts, I'm pretty sure, the week after. So if that's the case, then there's going to be midweek games for the Europe, the clubs that qualify for Europe, pretty much as of now on, which I think you've highlighted before as well. You said for those top 4, or even those sides that are doing
Europa League and Europa Conference
League, yeah, exactly. So it's six sides or so. The assets are definitely going to get rotated a lot. And someone says here now, no one talks about Foden. He wins with expected minutes. I got him on my wild card. Look, I think Foden's a great shout. Foden is a little bit more than Bernardo Silva, though, in terms of price. And in terms of positions, Bernardo Silva can play more positions than Foden. So it's only a pep roulette thing, as people like to call it, the rotation of the subs and of the players. There's also Grealish. Grealish is to come back into the side. I haven't seen him play for a while. I think he might have played
Game week 3.
He's injured.
What's going on with him?
Okay.
He's in the night. He might be in the nightclubs.
But yeah, that's right. just telling people that they're playing like Almiron. What a clip that is. I love Phil Foden. I think he's a fantastic player. I don't have him in my side because I have Bernardo Silva. If Bernardo was going to Barcelona, it was Mahrez to Foden for me. I wasn't going to have Gundogan. So if that makes, if that helps.
I think Foden, so we had him as one of the differentials for the last game week, and he still returned an assist. He's been getting the minutes this year, and he's been getting in good positions. But I think, as Dan mentioned, with say someone like Bernardo Silva, because he can play in a number of different positions, Bernardo Silva's probably the one that edges it right now for me.
It's a bit more locked in, that's right.
Yeah, but I think Foden, for 1 or 2 games, he's always got that big haul in him. I remember last year, I had him for about a 3 or 4 week period, and he played game after game after game. And he got a double-digit score against Brighton. It was huge, 18 points. Got another return the game after. If you can get Foden when he's hot, you have him for 2 or 3 game weeks, and then you find a way to dispose of him from there. There was another comment from PSB, actually, just to quickly. So we'll go to Alern's first, actually. Alern reckons Gundo show tomorrow. So he's all about Gundo, Gundogan. And then PSB has said Forest have conceded 24 chances down their right side, assists, goals coming in for Foden. So Foden, Bernardo, Gundo for long term until game week 16. I'd be saying Bernardo.
Yeah, I'm saying Bernardo as well. If you watch the game against, or the goals against Crystal Palace, Foden assists from the left side, Bernardo assists or creates the goals from the right side. So it's something to consider, considering you've said there's 24 chances down their right side. Maybe Bernardo plays left wing. That's the other thing, and that's what I was talking about before in terms of the rotation.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. There's a lot of picks, but. Yeah, again, you can never guess. You can never second guess Pep in FPL. We don't know what he's going to do. No one knows what he's going to do.
No, that's right.
Their own fans don't even know what they're going to what he's going to do. So how are we supposed to predict?
Yeah, exactly, and that's also why, just to bring it around full circle, is why I wouldn't have Haaland as a permanent captain. And this week I'm going with Jesus. And considering that Jesus is that real focal point, I feel for Arsenal.
Yeah.
I think he's maybe even a better captaincy option. When you look at it on paper, or you look at the matches and you look at who's been playing, who's involved, etc. Yeah, and who's
the opposition too
relied upon. Who's relied upon the most.
I agree.
And again, Haaland might come out and put 5 goals against Nottingham Forest, and then I'm in the real mud. So.
Yeah, I said earlier, if that happens, my team's on the old control out the league. End task, team's gone. I've already had a struggling start. That will only make it worse. But I do have De Bruyne. So PSB's comment about, De Bruyne potentially outscoring Haaland does fill me with a bit of confidence. But and I think Dan makes a good point about Gabriel Jesus being relied upon a lot more. It's similar to the Harry Kane thing with Spurs. He's going to play most games.
Yeah.
He takes pens. I know he missed the one last week, but he normally scores. He's involved in everything, similar to Salah at Liverpool. You just you never know what Pep's going to do. With this European run and all of these games, you just do not know what Pep is going to do. And you don't know how Haaland's going to manage it, because I think with the playing Premier League, Champions League, it's got a different feel to maybe. So Bundesliga is a great league, but I feel sometimes maybe the intensity in the Premier League, it could be different for Haaland. I know he's had some fitness issues already, so that could play a part, maybe.
Possibly. Look, I think one of the best examples is Riyad Mahrez. In any other Premier League team, he starts every single game.
Yeah, true.
And I think he's struggled with some returns and stuff. But if he plays 4 game weeks, 90 minutes, he's going to have returns. He's going to have goals. He's there or thereabouts. He was the third pass in a few of the. I think when they played Bournemouth, he was unlucky not to have returns. He had a few of his shots saved as well.
Yeah,
so
he did.
I think, and Mahrez last season was the 3rd top goal scorer. Above him was Sterling and KDB. So I think he's the best example of that, and the same can happen with Haaland.
No, good stuff. So there we go. Me and Dan both agree. No perma captain for Haaland just yet. We'll move on to the last 3.
That might change.
It might change. Yeah, it might change. And who knows? Pep might rest him for all 6 group stages in the Champions League, and and then he's fresh for the Premier League, and we could be completely wrong. But we'll move on to the last 3 fixtures. We'll start with a big game in London, a big derby. They do call it West Ham's Cup Final, is what they call it. It's West Ham versus Spurs. It's at the London Stadium. Huge game, because West Ham have just got their first win.
Wow.
They've only scored a goal, but they're always up for this, under the lights. Spurs are on good form. Not playing their best, but they're getting results. They're keeping clean sheets. Since Davinson Sanchez has been in the side, it's now 9 hours without conceding a goal with Davinson Sanchez, which is insane because Romero has been such a good player for us. But whenever Sanchez comes and fills in, the defence is good as well. It still remains solid. Conte is now on, I think it's 10 games unbeaten in the league for Spurs. So he's definitely got Spurs sorted. But this is a huge, huge game. We just had a question from something coming from Barra just saying no audio.
I can hear you.
You can hear me. If you can all hear me, just say yes in the comments. Sorry, Bora, I'm not sure what has gone on there, but hopefully you can hear us now. This one I'm going to go. Yeah, maybe. Oh, there we go. It's back now. It might have been the volume. I've turned it up for you, mate. Thanks again for tuning in. This one, big derby game. West Ham. They're normally good in this fixture at the London Stadium. They won it last year. Like I said this last week. I try not to be too biased with Spurs, but we're not losing games. We've got good quality in the squad. We've got good players to come off the bench now. It's going to be tough. I'm going to go. It's a derby as well. Look, I want to say we're going to win, but I might go 2-2. I know we've not been conceding goals. Yeah, I might go Desmond 2-2 because I can feel us taking the lead in this one or going 2-1 up, and then they might just grab a late goal. They've got their first win now. I think if they didn't get that win, then there'd have been a lot more pressure on them. But I'm going to pick Harry Kane as the man again. I picked him last week. He got 10 points. Should have been more. I'm going to pick Harry Kane. Scores again. He's got an unbelievable record against every team, but London derbies especially. His goal record against West Ham is ridiculous. He's looking very sharp. He's getting the difference between Harry Kane this season and last season. Obviously, he's starting this season better than he is last season because last season he wanted to leave. Yeah, because he's training, he's looking fit, but he's also he's training, he's turning up, he's turning up every week. But he's in the box.
Levy.
He's not. And I remember Conte when he came into Spurs. Well, before he came to Spurs, he was watching England play in the Euros, and they said to Conte, "If you managed Harry Kane, what would you do with him?" And he says, "I would play him in the box as much as I could." Because he's a killer in the box with his finishing. And then when he joined Spurs as manager, Kane and Son obviously continued this great partnership. But we have seen Kane become more of a box player this season. We saw that with his goal against Forest, both goals. He's not sort of sitting as deep. The connection's not been there with Son just yet. But Kane's the man at the moment, so I'm going to back Kane in 2-2. Daniel will let's get your thoughts on this one and who's your player.
Stadium's going to be full of bubbles, all of them. All of them popped by. Let's go with Richarlison. Hey,
there he goes. How many kick-ups is he going to do?
I reckon he goes for 5 this time. I reckon he does them just to spite people. I think 1-0 Spurs. And Richarlison I think he opens his account here. I think he gets his.
Do you think he starts?
Does he start this game? It would be a surprise, wouldn't it?
Well, he said he's going to. Conte said he's going to start in the next one of the. He's going to start in one of the next couple of games.
Yeah, he could do because he come on, he make the impact. All the talks about him, and this could be something where Conte puts him in and shows that confidence, and not to be something where he not punishes him but leaves him on the bench. He really takes his side because of all the carry on and it's just ridiculous media. I'll say 1-0 Spurs and Richarlison. Let's go with that. Just to something different because I think Harry Kane's the obvious one. Son's going to be there. He's going to play well. Son always plays well.
Kulusevski as well.
Yeah, Kulu as well. Bentancur.
Injured.
Is he injured?
Yeah, well, he's got an knock to the head, so we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe Basuma might come into the team for this one. Some fresh legs. Obviously, we've got Perisic as well.
A lot of games. Perisic just started playing now.
Perisic as well. So it's going to be big game there. Just a quick comment from Ulan that's come in. This isn't good news for my team if this is true. He's hearing Reece James has not been seen in training. So big blow for Reece James owners, if this is true, look, we can't confirm this, but thanks for the update, Erlan. Obviously, everyone that's tuning into the stream right now, I'm sure there's a lot of Reece James owners who are very worried, like me, and it may change some transfer plans. So let's see what happens there. We'll have to, we'll have to check that one out after the stream. But thanks for the update there, Erlan. That could be huge. Let's move on to Liverpool versus Newcastle. Dan, we'll give you this one first. Big game. Obviously, you were supporting you had the Newcastle shirt on last week. You've got the Newcastle triple up, but there is some whispers that they've got some injuries as well. And Liverpool have just come off a 9-0. So, what are your thoughts? Yeah, what are your thoughts here? Who's the player, and what's the score?
I no longer have the triple up. Wilson.
Oh, no longer. Okay. That's right. Sorry.
Yeah, he's done his bacon string, so he's out. Yeah. So Wilson, I swapped for Tony. And we spoke about that previously. I think this could be. I think this is the Desmond. I think this is 2-2.
You're going to go 2-2. You think Liverpool will let 2 goals in at home?
I don't know. I understand it's an Anfield, the Kop, it's a big place. Look, they could come off the end of that 9-0 and smash Newcastle, but I don't see it happening. Like Newcastle are playing really, really well. Even the game against Wolves, it wasn't as if they were out of it. With the 1-1
they kept going, didn't they? They kept going.
Yeah. I think they will miss St. Maximin if he doesn't start. But within that, you've got Almiron, Joelinton, Bruno Guimaraes, and then they've got all of the long staffs just going around kicking everyone. So it's going to be, I think they're going to be hard to stop this season. Newcastle started really, really well. I think this could be 2-2. And let's say, because I've got him in my draft, right? And I would never say that this is the player you want, but I'll say Joelinton.
I think that's 2 weeks in a row you've picked.
I did say it last week, yeah, and he didn't do nothing last week, so which is a shame. But.
Be cool. So 2-2, Joelinton is the man. So get him in your teams if you need that extra midfielder. I'm going to go. I think if Newcastle do have Trippier injured, if they do have St. Maximin injured, I think it could be. There we go. There's also another comment from Melania. Bruno Gomez is out. Yeah, Bruno out. ASM 50-50.
Why is Bruno out?
What would Bruno do? He's got a long-term injury now, I think. He missed the game on the weekend, and there could potentially be a slightly longer-term injury in there. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but yeah, Newcastle could be a little bit decimated in this one. I
think it is going to be 2-2, but I'll stick with that. But I've got my Liverpool triple up on. I think the only Newcastle player I've got on at the moment is St. Maximin. I don't have Trippier. Trippier's on my bench now. I moved it around because I do think, I think there's more. This is exactly what I did against City, and then certain players didn't play, and all my Newcastle players came on and gave me all the points, which was bizarre. I don't see, though, Newcastle getting battered. Guimaraes is a strange one because I saw him with the oxygen mask. I saw the photo. I don't know what kind of injury he's got. I've not read anything. St. Max about the hamstring is everywhere. Wilson's injury was everywhere last week. Do you think Isaac plays?
I don't think he does. Obviously, PSP says it's doubtful if he played. I'm not sure. Maybe off the bench. I don't know if he's registered. If anyone knows in the comments if he's registered and ready to play, I'd just assume he'd come off the bench. Whether or not he's been registered and he's good to be in the squad. I think if he's available, they'll put him on the bench and maybe bring him on for the last 20 minutes. Here we go. Hasn't got a work permit yet, so definitely don't think he will play.
Championship Manager 2.
This is like old school LMA manager type of stuff, right?
Fucking 1996 Championship Manager. Couldn't sign him.
They do have a few players out there in Newcastle for this one. I'm gonna back Liverpool. I think I'm gonna go. I'll go 3-0 only because if Trippier is not there, it's tough. It's tough because Newcastle have impressed me, and I don't think they're going to get too many hide-ins this season. Not going to get too many big defeats. I just think they might have a few players out.
If all those players are out there saying like Bruno, Wilson, St. Maximin, Kraft.
Isaac,
Yeah, exactly.
Trippier. There's a few. I'm going to go 3-0, and I think Salah. I'm going to say what we said at the start of the stream, and I think when we mentioned, he didn't get any returns in the 9-0 game,
Yeah.
and I reckon he's going to bounce back this week, and this could be the game that he gets. I'm going to go 2 goals and an assist. Salah's going to be my pick. I'm going to pick him. Salah's my pick for this game. I think he's the one to be very wary of. He's a big captain pick. We'll go through the captains in a sec, but I'm going to go Salah 3-0 to Liverpool, not based on Newcastle's form, not based on Eddie Howe or any of their players. It's just the amount of injuries that they have. I think it'll be a tough game at Anfield. And then we'll end it now for the Game Week 5 preview with Man United, Leicester, and then we'll move on to some differentials, captains, and then we've got all these questions to bring up and go through, which is going to be fun. So if you're tuning into the stream now, get your questions in. We're going to do the Q&A in the next 5 minutes. We're going to go through it, answer all your last-minute questions. If you can just give the video a like, get your comment in and subscribe to the channel if you don't already. Man United, Leicester. I'll start with this one. Sorry, it's at Leicester. This one's at Leicester as well. So obviously, Q's provided us these fixtures tonight, but he's got a couple of them around the wrong way. This one's at the King Power Stadium. It's Leicester versus Man United. So Man United are the away side. I'm going to back Man United to win this one. I think they'll win 2-0. Leicester are just an absolute mess at the moment. There's just, they've not made any signings. They had bad form at the end of last season. It's all had a flow-on effect into this season. They don't even look like winning a game at the moment. When they threw that Brentford game away on Game Week 1, they've looked pretty poor ever since. So I'm going to go 2-0 Man United. And I will pick, there's a couple of players I like. I like Rashford because he's got a good record at the King Power. He scored in his last couple of appearances there. So I'm really liking him, but I'm going to pick Bruno Fernandes as my player for this game. Got a double-digit haul at the stadium a couple of seasons ago. Opened his account last week against Southampton.
Good goal,
good goal as well. Very good goal. So I think this is going to be 2-0 to Man United. Wrestling film. Q has gone NFL style in the fixtures. Man United at less us. Yeah, he has. So I'll go 2-0 and I'll pick Bruno Fernandes. Just before we wrap up the Game Week 5 review and move on to the next section, Dan, score prediction and your player?
I think 2-0 is a pretty good one. I'm going to stick with Jadon Sancho. I'll go with Sancho. I'll say the same as I did on the weekend or before the weekend. But I think big news for Manchester United is the signing of Anthony. What?
Yeah, big signing. Big signing.
Wow! Straight into the team. I'm not going to wait. Straight
into your FPL team.
Don't need to see him. I've seen enough.
Has he had a price reveal? Has Anthony had a price reveal?
Not that I can see.
He's not fully registered yet. Maybe it's still with the Here We Go brigade.
Yeah,
Fabrizio Romano.
Paqueta hasn't had one either for West Ham, so it'll be interesting to see when he comes into the West Ham side as well. If it actually, I think it will improve them, but how they also play, it'll be very different. I think.
Good stuff. So, what was your final score prediction?
I said 2-0. Yeah, I'm going 2-0 as well.
2-0 as well. And your man is Jadon Sancho. So that wraps up the fixtures for Game Week 5, the preview, all of the players that we think are going to do well for this game week. I'm just going to stop sharing the screen now. And we're going to just move on to a couple of topics. We're just going to fly through these ones so we can get to your Q&A. So get all your questions in now. We'll quickly just bring up this comment from Alan as well. Oral Mangala, hamstring, Nikita, hamstring, Omar Richards leg are out of Wednesday night's trip to face Manchester City. As a non-Haaland owner, I'm very, very scared after reading that. Thanks for the update, Alan. So let's just quickly go through a couple of quick topics. So best captains and curveball captain. I'm going to give my top captains that I've put down here. And then my curveball captain, and then Dan, you can just chime in with any captains you think I've missed. So I'm going to go number 1, Haaland. Number 2, Salah. Number 3, I've gone Harry Kane in the derby. Number 4, Raheem Sterling. Number 5, Jesus against Villa. Look, I actually might move Jesus up to 3rd in Kane's position and then move Kane down to 4th and Sterling down to 5th based on what we've spoke about in this podcast. They're my 5 captains. Is there anyone else I should have put in there?
I think anyone else? Who have you got? You've got sorry, say again because I was listening. It was
Haaland,
Sterling,
Salah.
Kane, Jesus, Salah, and Haaland. Yeah, Haaland at the top.
That's correct.
Luis Diaz.
Okay, well there you go.
Luis
So
Diaz
add Luis Diaz into there, and you've got your captain picks. There's obviously a lot to pick from. That was my order, I think, of priority. I've said Haaland 1, Salah 2. I've now moved Jesus to 3, Kane to 4, and Sterling to
I'd say,
5.
Jesus is drawn number 1, but that's just me probably wishful thinking. I'm not sure because I think Haaland's very hard to ignore with his previous game week. Salah though, it's not an easy fixture. I don't think Newcastle is an easy fixture.
No, it's not. And I agree. It's not an easy fixture. I just get a good feeling about a bounce back. And he scored in the last 5 home games against Newcastle. So that's, I just feel like it's that record. Curveball, I've gone Bruno Fernandes. He's 9.8 million. As we just discussed, great record against Leicester. Double-digit haul there a couple of years ago. Scored against Southampton last week. So I think he's a really good pick as a curveball. Last week I picked Luis Diaz as the curveball and he got 14 points. So this week, can Bruno Fernandes do similar? Dan, have you got a curveball captain up your sleeve or are you happy with Fernandes?
Curveball could be Rodrigo against Everton.
Rodrigo, you know what? That's a very good shout. Everton haven't won a game. Leeds are looking improved this season.
I'm not going to captain him, but it could be.
Could be. No, I like that shout. That's a really good shout. So that's the captains. Now we'll quickly go on to a couple of differentials. So I'm going to just name 2 differentials for the week that I'm really liking. I'm going to go with the man we spoke about in the Wolves game, Guedes, 0.4%. He's got Bournemouth away. They've got no manager. They've just lost 9-0. Guedes got 7 points against Newcastle. He was constantly on the ball. He's getting shots on goal. He's getting his passes away. He looks like he's going to be a bonus point magnet. So I think he's a good shout at 0.4%. What do you think on that one, Dan?
I think it's probably the best differential you'll find this game week.
Liking it?
0.4%. And he's, exactly. And coming in against Bournemouth, I think, it's time for him to show what he can do, really. Because I think, when I saw him coming from Valencia, I thought it's a good option. It's another striking option. There's just a lot of striking options this season, as there are a lot of premium assets. It's difficult to find. I don't think there's a template yet, really. There's like maybe 5 or 6 players, but things are constantly changing. Like even when people talking about Cancelo out, Cancelo was part of that template.
Trent out.
So Trent out last week. 200-something thousand managers took him out, and then he goes and does the 19 points. So thank you for that, for those people. But it's very hard to call. It's very hard to call. But I think it's 0.4% and playing against Bournemouth, who have just lost their manager and just come off the back of that defeat. Probably a great shout. Best differential you'll find this week.
Yeah, good stuff. And really liking Guedes from Wolves this week. He's 6 million as well. Next one, we won't spend too much time on this one. Rashford I've gone with, which is probably going to surprise a lot of people. I know we've got some Man United fans in the comments, but 6% against Leicester. His price has gone down. His record at the King Power is very, very good. He scored in his last few games at the King Power. It's a stadium he likes to play at. I think he'll be playing on the counter-attack as well. I can just imagine Leicester just pushing for a goal and then Man United hitting them with a quick counter. Rashford breaking away with his pace, similar to the goal we scored against Liverpool, and then just scoring. So I'm going to go Rashford at 6% own. I just get this feeling with Rashford this week. I know he was poor last week, but what are your thoughts on Rashford against Leicester last game week of the round? Last game of the round as well.
Yeah, I do like him. I like Rashford. I think he's always been a really good option, and I think this season more so than ever because he's so cheap. Like I think last season he was 10 point or 9 point.
Yeah, it was like in the nines, 9.5, I
Yeah,
think.
and it would be like same with Sancho. Sancho was very expensive last season, and now he's come down a little bit. He's 7 point something now. So yeah, I think Rashford's a great pick.
Good stuff. All right. And then just the player pick for this week. It actually answers your question, PSB. You asked what your thoughts are on Mitrovic. I've actually put him as the player pick for this week. And we did mention earlier on in the stream how impressed we are with Brighton. They've obviously only let one goal in 4 matches this season. Well, I just get this feeling of Fulham under the lights at Craven Cottage. Mitrovic is like a man possessed right now. So I'm actually going to go with Mitrovic as my player pick. I just get this feeling he's just looking good. He's on pens. He scored in both of his home games so far, 2 against Liverpool, 1 against Brentford. I think he will continue that trend. So Mitrovic is my player pick. Just a quick one as well, back on the Rashford point. If Rashford plays down the middle as a number 9, I don't fancy him, but he's playing on the left. I really like him. I agree, PSB. Rashford, when he comes in off that left, is a completely different player to what he is when he plays down the middle. And I know a lot of Man United fans have been saying the same. So that's our differentials and our captain picks, and also our player pick for the week. We'll quickly do our transfers, and then we're going to go on to the Q&A because we've got a lot of questions that have come in throughout the whole stream, and we need to get through them as we are going over time. But we like it when we go into injury time because it means we've got some good questions. So quick one with transfers. I'm rolling over at this stage unless when I get off this podcast, there's a long-term injury to Reece James because we're hearing these rumours that Reece James might be injured. Dan, any transfers for you before we go on to the Q&A?
Yeah, I said it earlier. I've taken Mahrez for Bernardo Silva.
That's right.
So,
Bernardo Silva. And then do you have any other transfers or is it just the one?
No, it's just the one, and I'm going to roll the one, and then next week I'll have 2, or next week, sorry, come the weekend, I'll have 2 transfers for game week 6. I've kind of been doing that the whole way through, just rolling one and using one here and there just to fix up things or move one player in or out. But yeah, it could all go AWOL, and then I'll probably do my wild card a little bit earlier than I first thought. Yeah, my transfers, I'm just, like I said, trying to keep that consistency, trying to stay above the average. And if my players keep returning, the only thing that could really change it is if, like, say Max is injured, Trippier is injured, something else happens. Like if I lose one more player and I need to, say if I have to take like a -8, then I'm going to do a wild card.
Good stuff, Dan. It sounds like you've got everything sorted. It's always good to have those extra 2 transfers up your sleeve as well coming into the next game week. I think it's worth rolling or saving an extra transfer if you can with a midweek game week because you just never know what's going to happen in the midweek games with the rotation. All right, let's go into the Q&A. We've got plenty of questions. So let's go with the first one. Martin Watchhorn, which is This Is Wrestling Film, if you're still watching the stream. Great to hear your insight, gents. Thanks for that, mate. It's great to have you in the comments and watching the stream. He's having a very below average start to the season, as am I. So I'm in the same shoes as you right now. I'm close to wildcarding next week. Could you recommend a couple of differentials? Cheers, Martin. Well, Guedes for Wolves, and Marcus Rashford, but I think they're more immediate differentials over this next couple of games, especially Guedes. So I think if you can get someone like Guedes in now, have him for this next 2 games with the eye of them moving him on, and then even someone like Rashford who we've spoken about, Bernardo Silva as well, is still he's still a bit of a differential right now. So I'd aim for those. We'll go on to the next question that had come in. James Gadsden's question we had answered. We'd answered the question about Foden.
Yeah.
Let's pull up some more of these questions. Craig Tilanio. I've got 11 outfield players I'm happy to start. Which one do I bench? And he's given us his team.
He listed them, yeah.
So he's got 11 players I'm happy to start. Who to bench? Team is Saliba, Perisic, Trent, James, KDB, Martinelli, Kulu, Bernardo, Haaland, Jesus, Tony. That is a huge headache. But Daniel just mentioned it. That headache might just soften a little bit because we've heard some rumours that Reece James might be injured. So look, we can't confirm that. It's just a comment that's come in from one of our viewers. So maybe have a look on Twitter, check some of the Chelsea forums, check their Instagram pages, see if you can see any pictures of Reece James. if he's injured, then I think Dan's right. James is probably the one to bench if that's the case.
Other than the injury, it's a pretty hard pick.
Yeah. Other than the injury, I think I'd be benching Saliba or Martin. Probably Saliba if James isn't injured, because you then just bank on Villa scoring a goal and then Arsenal still winning the game and Martinelli getting an attack in return. So that's a good problem to have, though, Craig, because it shows you've actually got a very, very strong squad there.
Strong team, yeah.
It might end up answering itself anyway. Bora TV has asked us a question: Cancelo, Alisson, or Robertson, Edison for long term? This is a tough one. This is a very tough one. Look, Robertson over a season. Last season it was hard because he was injured for the first part of the season. The season before, he was only second to Trent in terms of points. And then Edison's always in the top 3 or 4 keepers. Then on the flip side, Alisson's always in the top 1 or 2 keepers, and Cancelo's always in the top sort of 3 or 4 points. So it's kind of like for like. There's not much in it. Like the prices are similar. Honestly, there's really not much in it. I would probably, I'd probably go Robertson, Edison, and the reason I'd do it is because I know Cancelo's a permanent fixture for the most part in this City team, but we don't know what's going to happen with the Champions League. All these games squashed in before the World Cup. Cancelo's going to the World Cup with Portugal. I know Edison's going to be going to the World Cup as well, but I think with the goalkeeper, less chance of an injury. So Edison, you're going to get permanent minutes from. Robertson rarely gets drops. He's not going to any World Cup with Scotland because they didn't make it. So I think Robertson / Edison is the 2 for me. Dan, who would you pick?
I've got Cancelo and Edison in my team, so I've not gone for a Liverpool City. I do have Trent. I have Cancelo, but I have Edison as my goalkeeper as well. I had Alisson, and the reason I had Alisson is because I had Haaland up front, and I changed that just before game week 1. Out of those 2, I'd probably go Cancelo and Alisson, because I think Cancelo, I think he's just such a threat. Like, Cancelo sometimes plays as an 8. Like, it's just ridiculous. He gets so forward, and in those games, he's always getting assists, or he's on the score sheet.
And a good defense as well. Obviously, it's not showing it so much this season, but overall, usually see a good defense. So there you go, Bora. You've got 2 different answers. Hopefully, one of them is enough for you to make your decision. Question from Unish. Thanks for tuning in. Son to De Bruyne for a hit, or just do Son to Gundogan? Look, I would not be taking a hit to take Son out. It's tough. If you don't have Haaland, I'm assuming you probably have Cancelo. And if you don't have Haaland, I'd probably get an extra bit of City coverage in, so I'll just do something to Gundogan. But if you've already got Haaland, you've got Cancelo, I'll just keep Son for this game against West Ham. I wouldn't even make the move. But if you really want that City coverage because you need it, then do the Gundogan move. But if you've got Haaland, I wouldn't even do that move. Dan, thoughts?
I don't know. It's a hard one. Like, Son to Gundogan, it seems a very different move for me. Like, Gundogan is a different type of player, an FPL player, than is Son. If you were saying, like, not to say Son to Sancho, but Sancho as an example, or even who else could we talk about there? Son to Luis Diaz, for example. I'd be like, yeah, why not? Because Diaz has been scoring.
Makes a bit more sense.
He's getting returns, I'd probably just keep Son. I think he's going to score soon. I thought he was going to score last week.
He nearly did. Yeah.
He did he?
That's right. He nearly did. He nearly did. He had quite a few chances. He was a whisker away 2 or 3 times. So I'd keep Son.
He nearly returned the week before as well, the corner against Wolves, and he hit the post. So it's going to come. I just hold Son for the minute. Because the issue with KDB and Gundogan is what we were talking about previously in the pod, is that because of Champions League, because of cups, because of the roulette and rotation, it's very hard to pick when they will be rested and when they will play.
I agree. I think it's time just to keep Son. And also just had a comment from Craig. Thanks, boys. Great stream as usual. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. Great to have you here. And the questions were good. So thanks for that. We've had a couple more come in. We'll just quickly bring up Balloon's question. FPLMattDay an hour ago. This isn't ideal. Someone messaged me yesterday that he hadn't trained. I wasn't sure how legit it was, but now it's looking likely to be true. So that's about Reece James. Yeah, that is a real pain. That is a real pain. I don't think I've got enough bench coverage. So I'm going to have a think about this, what to do when the stream ends. I may have to make a transfer. He's also just come in.
You'll have to use your 5th wild card.
Yeah, I'll have to. No idea. So that's not for anyone else. I won't be selling unless we hear more. We've had a couple more questions. One from Lewis. Is Cucurella a great player to bring in? I think he's a good player, a solid pick. We've seen him on corners. He's been involved in a lot of the attacks. He's had a lot of interchange with Sterling. He got the assist on the weekend. So I think he is a good player to bring in for Zinchenko, who's obviously injured at the moment. If you want to get rid of Zinchenko, I think Cucurella is not a bad player. If you've already got Reece James, I know he's injured, but I'm not really liking defensive double ups right now. So I'd maybe then move on to more of maybe a Saliba or a Lewis Dunk. But if you don't have any Chelsea coverage, I think Cucurella is quite a good one to bring in. Do you like him? Dan?
Yeah, I like Cucurella. I liked him when he was at Brighton. You were saying about defensive double ups. Would you count a keeper and a defender as a defensive double up? Is that you call that as well?
I still call that. Yeah, I'd still say that's a double up because once a goal goes in,
the clean sheet is gone. Yeah.
It's gone from both. Okay. So I'd still say so. We've had PSB has just asked another question. If Reece James is out, would you recommend Perisic or go for the boring Ruben Diaz pick? It's a very tough one, right? Because with Perisic, so he did get subbed off for Sessegnon on the weekend, which I think was in preparation to play Perisic for this game against West Ham, because the West Ham game is the big one. It's the derby. But I don't think you'll get Perisic against Fulham. I just don't think you'll get the minutes against Fulham on the weekend. I think Perisic will then play in the Champions League the week after. Obviously, Spurs are now in the Champions League, and we're going to want to play our best team in that comp. And I think the Fulham game will see Sessegnon come in. It's obviously against his old club as well. So I think if you're going to do the Perisic move, you're looking at it as a 1 week you're looking at it as a kind of a 1 week pick, because you've got this week, this West Ham game. I don't think he plays Fulham. And then it's Man City away the week after, which, that fixture, I know we saw Newcastle players do well in that fixture. Last week, we saw Spurs do well in that fixture both times last season. But sometimes you look at that fixture and it's a tricky one to navigate. So I wouldn't do it. I'd wait and see if there is more intel on James. Would I then go the boring Ruben Diaz pick? I think you get a couple of good games out of him. I think you can even look at them. You could even, if you want to then take James out, you could even just go Cucurella if you don't have him, or you could go. You can go sideways. You can even
Thiago Silva.
I'd probably be sticking more for a Cucurella, I think, for me. But I'd even be looking at maybe even a Lewis Dunk. Yeah, I'd be looking at a Lewis Dunk or a Veltman, maybe. But yes, we'll see. We'll see what happens, PSB, with Reece James.
Is Chilwell not an option?
The thing about Chilwell is, I think he'll play this week, but
he was insane last season.
He's unreal. He's such a good FPL player, and he's such a good player as well. But he just isn't. He isn't getting the starts. I just don't know if we can rely on him to play every game. It is an interesting one, but it's got to be fitness based. Couple more questions, both from Omar Fantasy.
Zinchenko and St. Maximin are probably both injured.
I think Dan's right. There's Zinchenko. I think they don't need to play him if it's
put it this way.
Just rest him and play Turney.
I don't have Zinchenko, and I think if you don't have him, it's obviously a massive risk to bring him in. I have St. Maximin. I'll leave him in my side, but my first sub is ready to go if he doesn't play.
Yeah, I think.
What you can really do.
Yeah, I think Zinchenko, they're saying that he had a strain on his knee. They won't risk him if they don't need to. Yeah, and Tierney's there to play. So I think Zinchenko will be back quickly, but I don't think he's ready for this Villa game. St. Maximin as well. I don't think Newcastle will risk anything. if they don't need to. They don't want to lose set maximum long term for the sake of this game against Liverpool. They've got other players that they can play. Just a couple of other comments. Thanks for tuning in, Bora. We'll see you on the next stream. There's going to be another stream. It will either be Friday night or Saturday before deadline. So we'll have another stream then, covering game week 6 and reviewing this game week. And it's going to be a live watch along as well for Liverpool or Everton versus Liverpool. So stay tuned on this channel. If you don't already, just give the channel a subscribe and stay tuned for all the content coming up. Lewis, no problem. Thanks for tuning in. And it was a really good question as well. Bora TV just come in with another quick one. Koulibaly starting. Tuchel says he's a leader and definitely starting. He's obviously coming back from suspension.
Haaland said the same.
Yeah, so Haaland said the same. So that could be a a reasonable pick then. He's a set piece threat.
But then around that, yeah, you've also got this. So no Kante, Gallagher, Kovacic, James out. I don't trust Chelsea defence.
Yeah, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. It doesn't. So you've got the Brighton double up. That's fair. Look, mate, I've said this a lot. There's one Spurs defender that plays every game. If you want a Spurs defender, Eric Dyer. He might be boring, but I'm going to say it for the 5th stream this season. This new set piece coach that Spurs have hired, the Italian
guy.
The Italian guy. It could mean Eric Dyer. He's already scored 1 goal this season. It's a boring pick, but there could be some potential there. Another one here from Omar. Oh my God, I have Zinchenko and set maximum. Don't worry, I've got Zinchenko and Reece James. Dan's got set maximum and Trippier. So
make sure
we feel your pain.
Your first and second subs are ready to go.
Yeah,
that's all you can do. Because the crazy thing about this, right, is that sadly, even if you go and get your information from Twitter, like we saw last season, was jokes when people were like, "Oh, Son's got COVID," and then everyone went and took hits, got him out, and he scored.
Double digits.
So this can happen. Yeah, exactly. This can happen. So then you're like 14 or 16 points behind because of people spreading a big rumor on Twitter, and it goes it flies like wildfire on Twitter. You know, once someone starts resharing it or retweeting, it's pretty much
especially the troll accounts that make themselves look like real accounts. But anyway, last quick one. PSB, great stream. Thanks for tuning in. Some great questions. If there's any quick questions, sorry, Dan, what was that?
Good insights from PSB as well.
Yeah, great insights, PSB. Thanks for joining in. Some really, really good insights from you. If anyone who's watching the stream right now has any questions, get them in the next 10 or 20 seconds and we can quickly answer them. Otherwise, I think we will be done. If we don't see any more questions. Last question. Here we go. We've got one more. Let's do this one. Bora TV again. Last question. You're loving the goalkeeper defender questions, and I'm liking this. What I'm assuming, mate, is you've got 2 transfers. I'm assuming you've got Ward in goal and you want to get rid of Ward, right? So something's going on here.
He likes Robertson.
He does like Robertson.
Second time as we mentioned.
Yeah, I think. Oh, look, if James is injured and we don't know the extent of it, and that's an if, then you've got to go for Sanchez Robertson. But I think if injuries weren't a problem, you go for Alisson James. Actually, no, I'd still be going Sanchez Robertson because.
Why don't you do Alisson Cucurella? If that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, you could go Alisson Cucurella.
Yeah.
I do like Sanchez Robertson because Sanchez is a cheap keeper and he's getting points, and we know what you're going to get. And the Brighton defense looks even better than last season so far. So I think those 2. But yeah, good luck with your choice. And thanks for tuning in, Bora. Lewis, thanks for the comment. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one. The points of Zinchenko and set maximum, I won't get it. If they don't play, then unfortunately you won't get their points. So fingers crossed you get some points from players on your bench though that come on for them. And Haaland, thanks for tuning in. One last comment from Bora TV. I want a wild card already. Done 50 transfers by overthinking just the last few bits, and I love your stream. All right. Well, thanks up, Bora. Thanks for all the questions. Any final words, Dan, before we log off? We've done a good hour and a half here with some really good questions. So is there anything else?
We've put another 90 minutes in, man. 2 90 minutes back to back. We're gonna have fitness issues soon. But No, awesome podcast. Enjoyed coming on here. Enjoy all the questions as well and interaction from the guys that are on the live stream. So thank you very much, and thanks for having me again.
No, good stuff. And thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks for all the questions, the insights. Just a couple of shout outs. Dan, who's been on the pod with me tonight at D10 Football. Go check him out on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Follow him at D10 Football. Also, you can follow FPL Amateur Oz, who provided the graphics tonight. That's Quinton Dunn. Give him a follow. And then myself, FPLMattDay. I'm on Twitter. Also on TikTok now, Instagram, and then if you can just give the video a like and a subscribe if you don't. I think that wraps it up now. Game week 5, looking forward to it. Midweek deadline. Yeah, going to have to go check now a lot of the interviews, the press conferences, just before bedtime here because we are both in Australia and then it's late night here. So we'll go and check that out. We've also going to have, we mentioned it earlier, but Saturday night, it's going to be a live deadline stream. At the moment, I think I'll be doing it on Saturday. So come back onto the channel on Friday at some stage. Go onto the channel or some of my socials and you'll see whether or not we do the stream on Saturday or Friday. But we will definitely have a watch along for Everton Liverpool. So come and join in the comments and we will look forward to that game. But let's, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks everyone for tuning in. As we said, really good questions and good luck for game week 5. We'll both see you in the next one. Until then.